The CW's for sale because of how terribly their content is doing. They've had multiple shows like Arrow and The Flash lose millions of viewers. Batwoman never really got off the ground, and you'd think they'd want to look at their upcoming lineup of shows and try to change their content, try to listen to consumers and see what people really want to watch. But it's 2022, and messaging means more to companies than making money, and the executive producer of the CW's new show, Naomi, admitted in an interview that it's going to focus on identity politics. But before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month or supporting via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. The CW's upcoming superhero series, Naomi, will emphasize identity politics, the show's executive producer confirms. DuVernay, who is infamous for threatening to discriminate against white men, recently talked about the show at the Television Critics Association, as reported by Deadline. I'm not really surprised to hear that a person who's gone on social media admitting they hate white men is the one who is kind of in charge of the show, who's an executive producer for this series, but it says it's not about representation, it's about normalization, the executive producer claimed. We're doing really muscular things that relate to race and gender and class, but we're doing it by playing it normal, like it's just a part of the everyday. Now, if that was really going on in the series, that would be fine for most people, I'm going to be honest. But this is the problem. You're going into interviews pushing the narratives that this show is going to feature. You're saying, oh, we're not focused on specific representation, but it's about normalization. We want to change the way people view our characters. We want to change the way people view strong black women in shows and in entertainment. We're just trying to treat it like the everyday, but you're not, because if you were treating it like the everyday, you wouldn't have to put such an emphasis saying, oh, look at us, we can do diversity and representation as well. She says the more you can portray images without underlining or highlighting them and putting a star next to them. This is actually pretty hilarious, since that's literally what they're doing. They're going, look at us, we're creating a show about a black woman. You should praise us for all of the inclusivity that we're providing you guys in entertainment, instead of just letting it be and creating the content they want. No, they are underlining and highlighting it. DuVernay also nixed the idea that the character would be crossing over into any other shows, saying, in terms of crossovers, we're not thinking about that right now. She's on her own path, and I really think that this is the first part of the Naomi-verse. Of course. Why would they want to mix this character in with the rest of the characters they have shows for? Especially when a lot of them are white men. It says people need to be trying to cross over into here, so we'll see what happens, but you won't see any crossovers in season 1. We're focused singularly on her journey. Now, you'd think they'd actually see that people don't want this type of garbage and that they'd actually change their format. They'd rethink greenlighting all of these shows like Batwoman, Powerpuff Girls, even Naomi here, but they don't. It's like they want to lose money. They do interviews like this after interviews that are just terrible and ruin any sort of interest people would have in this series, or even a chance that people would give this series. If they didn't focus so much on pushing narratives in people's faces first and foremost, and actually wrote a good story, if this content wasn't about lecturing people and demanding change, but it was simply good entertainment, they wouldn't see so much backlash. But they don't know what good stories are anymore, if they even did in the first place. So DuVernay decides to go on and describe Naomi, saying that she's a snazzy dresser, she loves comic books, and it really sets up for this really cool, unique story. I'm personally not very convinced with the first trailers, with the descriptions of this show. I have absolutely no interest in it. But it says the official description from DC Comics for the series states DC's biggest, newest mystery starts here. When a fight between Superman and Mongol crashes into a small northwestern town, town, Naomi begins to uncover the last time a super-powered person visited her home and how that might tie into her own origins and adoption. Follow her journey on a quest that will take her to the heart of the DC universe and unfold a universe of ideas and stories that have never been seen before. They're trying to hype this up as some massive new mystery superhero show. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be very new and unique, and that's great if that happens, but I highly doubt that this show is going to be amazing. I highly doubt that this content is what people want to watch because there's been a lot of backlash over it already. They've already faced a lot of criticisms over this series, and I personally have no interest in it at all. I completely understand that executive producers and actors and directors do interviews when new shows release because they want to get people hyped up for them and want to get people excited for them. But interviews like this, when they're talking about emphasizing identity politics in a series, truly hurt the show more than help it. And this is a giant reason why the CW is failing. I talked about this in another video, but it says after embracing wokeness and seeing their ratings plummet across nearly all shows, the CW is for sale. And even with Naomi, you can clearly tell they're still going in the same terrible direction. They're not trying to change up their content to make people want to watch anything they're releasing. They're creating series after series and they're all failing because people don't want to consume this content. We've seen this happen so many times now. This show's going to release, it's going to have abysmal viewership and ratings online. Then when it fails, the writers and actors are going to go, "You're all ists because you won't watch our show." It's not about having a black woman as a lead. I have no problem with that at all whatsoever. It's about stories being genuinely garbage that no one, not even the woke crowd, wants to watch it and give it a positive review because those people aren't the ones watching your content. You'd think they would learn this. Show after show have failed, but no, they never change what they're creating. And like I mentioned, I did talk about this in another video, but it says the CW, the television network jointly owned by Viacom, CBS, and Warner Media, is up for sale following the network's embrace of wokeness and nearly all of their shows' ratings and viewership plummeting. I liked the Arrowverse at the beginning. The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, they were pretty good series at the start, but as the years have gone on and the seasons have gone on, the wokeness has slowly but surely infiltrated these series. And then you have things like Batwoman, which never got off the ground, that were complete failures from the start, that people were never really all that interested in. It's a shame to see so many good characters be taken and be completely twisted around and ruined to push narratives, but Naomi apparently is going to be another terrible CW show that's going to emphasize identity politics. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.